Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Malikicowtipper, back after a year of absence to the StarCraft casting and playing world. So this is my second day back for all of you people who originally followed my channel. I don't know how many it was, but I'm going to pretend that I'm a very important person and go through and continue to do this. I really enjoy StarCraft and we're going to start playing again. So this is probably my 10th ladder game against xDaveNeox. And I have kind of an interesting game for you guys, and by that I mean it's a very long, discombobulated game, and what's kind of interesting here is you just get to see what happens to you after you just stop playing a game that you were very competitive in for a while, and then pick it back up after a very, very long time. So we're going to put the resources tab up there because it's always fun to look at. So you have xDaveNeox spawning as the red Protoss in the upper right hand corner of the name of a map I have not quite yet memorized because last time I played, Season 2 just started and now we're on Season 7. Holy crap. And just let me check my volume for a second there, guys. I apologize about that. Gonna enable the music down a little bit. There. Cool. Let's return to the game. So, and I am Malikicowtipper spawning as the blue Zerg in the upper left-hand corner. And I haven't watched a lot of StarCraft 2 videos in a while. I have been kind of out of the gaming scene, at least on this particular game. I really don't know what I've been doing. I'm playing a lot of $3 games off of Steam. Just beat Max Payne 2. God, that was such a good game. I remember that back when I was like 12 years old and it had physics, and everybody was like, holy shit, dude, it had physics? It's so cool. But anyway, for a few minor housekeeping details, I'm now playing on a newer rig than I was last time. I'm recording in 1080p instead of 720p, and I'm going to try recording at 30 frames per second just to see how my file sizes are. I might try recording upwards of 40 or 50, because the PCIM can definitely handle it. So as you can see, our Protoss player, Dave, over here, got a lucky scout, and he just kind of has all the locations, you know, just clicked on that way he can easily go in between them, and the first thing he does is start attacking one of my probes. So I pull off another, that way I do not lose a drone, and something that I've started doing, and I'm not even sure if this is popular strategy right now, so you'll have to forgive me, is when I'm dealing with a Protoss, I tend to just put one of my workers on him and have him follow him around. That way I don't have to worry about any kind of sneaky shit, because as you can see here, I've already scouted down here. This Overlord is like the fuck, bro. It takes a really long time to get over here, just chill. And at this point I get down here and I realize that we're in close spawn position. So I pretty much am going to stop my Overlord. You can see right over here, simply because I kind of know where he is, and I figure, hey, I'll let my drone get in there, but I kind of realized later on that that was a bad mistake because I can't even see the fact that he has a gateway going down yet. I don't even know that he has a forge going down yet, so for all I know, I could have gateways being built out in this area that I haven't scouted yet. I could, you know, a lot of different things could be going down. As far as my build is concerned, I went 14 pool and then 14 extractor, and that was a very popular build back when I first started playing StarCraft, and it still seems to suit most purposes, and we're talking Gold League here, so with this video, don't expect expert pro level play. This is more for myself, that way I can go back through, talk, analyze my own game, and hopefully you guys can get a little bit of entertainment out of this, because the shit gets pretty chaotic later on at the end. I have to say, it's pretty fucking sweet. That's a bad FPS Russia impersonation. I like guns. I think just about everybody should like guns. I mean, when you think about it, the Terran like guns, and if it weren't for guns, then all of the Zerg would have killed all of the Terran. So that's my little rant right there for that. So I laid down my second hatchery at about 19 supply, and I really haven't worked out the full build order that I want to do, but at this point, now that I have my second hatchery on the way, I'm basically just going to continue to pump drones. And right here, as far as my scouting goes, I want to turn on the vision here, so I can only see what I can see for a second here. So to that point, you can see where my camera's going. My APM is really not very high right now, and I'm not going to claim it to be. Let's just check out here and see what we're at. Yeah, I'm averaging about 30 actions per minute. He's averaging about 46. Back when I played heavily, I could get up to about 70 to 80, and it's all just about learning how to play StarCraft again. But from my own vision right here, and see that I know that he has a forge, I know that he has a gateway, but if I go back to everyone right here, that's about all he's done, so I'm not missing out on too much. He does have another pylon coming up back here, and to this point, we're also only talking a Silver League player during the 7th season. He has 200 career wins. I have 599 career wins. So I've got experience writing on my side. You can see that I took my first queen that I built over here, sent that bitch down over here so she can inject the shit out of this hatchery. And I have another one forming here. I was slow on my second queen coming out, which can help reduce, that definitely does reduce your larva, and fairly sorry, I completely missed it. I did see those zealots, the two of them, with my overlord when I brought them down through here. You guys might have caught that earlier while I was doing this. And when I saw the two zealots, I figured there might be some early zealot pressure. So I sent some lings out to scout, and sure enough, I saw that there were zealots incoming. So right here, I have not enough lings to deal with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try not to lose these lings until my roaches pop up. And then I should be able to engage all of these zealots and not really have too many issues taking them down. Save all my workers, and we take a look at Army tab right here. It's not really worth anything at this point. Units lost. He's lost 300 resources worth. I've lost 75. So to that exchange, at that point, that tells me a couple different things. It tells me that that early push, or that pressure, didn't have the effect, didn't have the desired results. I had roaches out, and I already have speed links. So what I'm going to try to do now is get in here with some zerglings and just kind of see what type of harassing I can do. I don't want to overcommit to this attack, because by doing that, I can throw a lot of resources at something that just isn't going to do a lot of damage to him. And right here, what I decided to do is to break away and to try to take down this pylon, because that means all three of these photon cannons basically will be worthless. And this one roach, I should have microed him around, that way he could get in range and attack. And I was able to drop that pylon, and that basically makes those photon cannons completely worthless at this point. Now, he has a Stargate coming up, so what he's doing here is he was basically going for a pressure push with the zealots, and he really didn't intend for those to end the game. If they did, awesome. And then he was also planning on doing, you know, another pressure push, or I'm not going to call it cheese, but he was going to try to, you know, just quickly go to Stargate and get some Warp Gate and get some Void Rays on me. And those Void Rays are going to be very, very effective in stopping this push, and you can see I'm doing a pretty poor job at microing these units around, and there just isn't a lot of room for the roaches to move. You can see I'm rallying a lot more roaches here, and if it wasn't for this Void Ray being chrono boosted and coming out, these roaches could very well be enough to end the game. And right here, I'm trying to focus down a pylon, and then I realize that's just a really bad idea. I should be focusing down the photon cannons themselves, because it's just going to take too long to kill all three of those pylons. But what happens here is that Void Ray gets out, and that Void Ray is going to make relatively short work of the roaches. They're armored units. Void Rays do extra damage versus armored. So at this point, what I'm going to try to do is just get inside the base. These guys are basically dead. There's no reason to run these units away. I'm just going to try to do as much harassment as I possibly can and make good out of these, and also trying to get him to overcommit 2 units as well. If we take a look at the income tab right here, you can see that he actually has quite a few more harvesters than me, and the reason he has those extra harvesters is because I committed so many roaches that could have been drones to that push. And when you think about it realistically, that push, if we now take a look at the units lost tab, I came out on the bottom of that. So what could have been a nice little counterattack, I easily overcommitted to it, and between a few well-placed photon cannons and 1 Void Ray, he was easily able to counter that entire push. And now I'm in a very bad position here because I set my rally point up front. I have my overlords coming here, so now he's going to get 2 easy overlord kills, and again, set me back more minerals, and that's also going to supply block me. Well, it won't right now, because you can see I have quite a good amount of extra supply. You want to have that as Zerg, but again, it's just easy kills. So what I'm doing right now, if we go into the production tab, is I'm laying down a couple spore crawlers. When I saw the Void Ray, I immediately dropped an Evo chamber, and I pulled my roaches back here, just their base defense at this point, and I'm also going to start spamming queens. One thing I found in StarCraft, especially Zerg, is you usually end up having a lot of minerals, especially mid-game before you really start pumping out units. Nothing wrong with having queens. They can transfuse into buildings, they are awesome air defense, they can transfuse themselves, they're just an all-around good unit to have. They can spread creep, they can eject the shit out of everything, and check this out, bitches have fucking dreadlocks. So fucking cool, goddamn. In this case right here, again, another easy overlord kill because I was, you know, at that point it was just carelessness. My overlords were getting sent out all over the place, and right now he has air dominance, and as you can see, he's just set up a simple little patrol path with these, and he's going to scout the map with them and basically make sure that I haven't gone for a ninja expansion, and he's going to pop them up back here and try to get a kill. Got a Spore Crawler back there, which should help, defend against them and alert me to anything. But if we take a look at the Army tab, not that Army tab, fuck. The unit tab right here, you can see that I have 6 queens, and dealing with a couple Void Rays with 6 queens really should not be an issue. If we go back to the income tab right here, we can see that the Protoss is still ahead of me. And at 13 minutes into the game, you really do not want, you just don't want a Protoss to be ahead of you in income. We're both on 2 bases. You can see that he's laying down a bunch of pylons, and he's now going Dark Shrine. So essentially with this build, everything that the Protoss is doing isn't really focused about killing me in the early game. From early Zealot pressure to Void Ray pushes and then to Dark Templars, it's almost like he's just trying to pressure me and bleed me out. And if we take a look at this right here, I do have Observation, which will help from them getting into my mineral line, and have my units front and center. And you can see here that he's gonna fucking... Oh my god! Gross! Fucking sick. Just blew that bitch up. Holy shit. But I'm going to be able to pick off one of these Void Rays with my Queen. You can see they just act as great defense. These Void Rays basically, useless aside from providing him excellent map control. Guess who can't expand? Oh, guess who's not going to be expanding here anytime soon because of rocks and a pylon. That's cool. So, to that end, I am pretty vulnerable to what he's about to do with this next set of attacks. But realistically, if you have a few units here, unless he moves en masse with Dark Templars, like 10 or more of them, he's not going to be able to do a sufficient amount of damage to me at any given point. Again here, he's more or less just trying to harass me and keep me on my toes, keeping me from what I'm trying to do here. And I was able to transfuse her, and then he's going to lose another Void Ray. But he still has one out there. If we take a look at the units lost tab, you can see that it's about even right now. We go to income right here, you can see that he's up on me by 10 harvesters right now, and as we take a look at how many I have in this base, I'm pretty well oversaturated here, and right now he is actually sneaking in with those Dark Templars, and he morphed into Argons, which I actually thought that was a fairly good choice because they do a lot of damage against Zerg units. But again, having all of these queens can take quite a beating. I've got ground armor level 2, and even though they don't have the greatest DPS in the world, again, if I hadn't had all of those queens, those Argons could have really messed with my day. And he's basically going to continue at this point to try to bleed me out, to not allow me to expand, and it's working fairly well. If I were him right now, we take a look at the amount of resources that he has. He has almost 4,000 minerals, and I have almost 3,000 myself. I would be dropping knowing that I have air superiority and that I have Dark Templars, which I'm using to harass him. I would be dropping down expansions, at least 2 of them, everywhere around the map. And you can see he even has a small standing ground force here, but because of the units that I have here and the fact that I am able to rally at this point my Mutalisks, a lot of Mutalisks, I'm going to be able to easily clean this up. And what I was doing the entire time by getting a lot of gas and saving up the minerals and trying to build the supply was to be able to bring out, 7 to 10 Mutalisks all at once. And I succeeded in being able to do that, and now because of these Mutalisks, I easily have air superiority. I can control the map. So what I need to do at this point is utilize the fact that he hasn't expanded and try to do some harassment with these mutas and bring myself back up into this game. Again, for income in the game, he's still ahead of me on harvesters, but it doesn't do him a lot of good because these bases are oversaturated, so those harvesters are really just bouncing around. They're being wasted here. And if we take a look at this, he knows I have mutas, so now he's preparing a lot of photon cannons, and when you think about it, even if I never harassed with these mutas, that is a lot of resources that he's putting there just to prevent me from doing that. He's also getting more Void Rays now, which he might not have wanted to do with this army composition because he's going to want to try to stop my Mutalisks, although he really should be getting Corsairs. It'd be a far better choice. And with your mutas, guys, there's no need to really attack into these photon cannons. You're going to lose a few mutas, and it's just not worth it if you can fly around it. So right here, when there's a small number of stalkers like this, I'm going to try to pick them off just because I can come out ahead and I can generally get more kills than he can. One thing with Argons, though, is they are actually really good against Mutalisks because they have splash damage, and they do so much damage to organics. My pack of Mutalisks has pretty much been reduced. They're in a very weakened state, and I can't really tell you that this attack, flying in here and committing to it so heavily, was worth it. The only benefit I could see to that is I'm going to force him to produce units, but at this point, he has a lot of supply. We both have a lot of supply. So he realistically could spam, you know, a lot of zealots if he had enough warp gates and probably win this game just due to brute force. So now myself, you can see we're both attempting to take our third at about the 20-minute mark in the game. So to him, he was able to keep me confined, but he didn't capitalize on it by not expanding himself. So I'm going to try to maneuver more Mutalisks back here and do another push, but once I see all these cannons back here, it's basically not worth my time to go after the few probes or any of the tech that's back here. I could probably sneak in and pick off this Twilight Council, which could be very helpful just to eliminate the chance of there being High Templars or anything like that. I'm also taking another expansion back here because I didn't want to take the time to break down the rocks, which is exceptionally lazy on my part to go for a ninja expansion. Now what I'm doing is I'm sending out some Mutalisks just to kind of scout around the map, but a problem here is I think these mutas are actually going to sit here for the rest of the game because I didn't put them on a flight path and I did not hotkey them. So now he's moving out with a small army, and what he's probably attempting to do with this is, in this case, discover where my bases are and, you know, probably just start harassing me. And he has a pylon here, so he can bring in warp gates, killing some of those workers. I am going to get this base up, it looks like. But right here, I do have some units in reserve. I have been building Zerglings, and again, these queens just providing decent base defense, and the Mutalisks are going to come in, and they're going to help clean this up. And, you know, there's enough Stalkers there where, again, I probably didn't need to engage with the Mutas. I think that was more just an auto attack on their part, but the Zerglings are going to come in here and they're going to help, you know, eat up some of the damage. And again, if the queens, if I can transfuse a few of these mutas and save them, cool. If they can deal some DPS, I've just found that having a lot of queens generally is not a bad thing. So you can see that he's taken a fourth down here, and I can only hope that I discover that and let these Mutalisks just chill down here. I think they need a few natties, you know, give them some nice cool hydration. But what I'd realized during that battle is that I did not have enough larvae, so I'm dropping down 2 hatcheries right here, and this is going to do 2 things for me. Obviously, it is going to, you know, allow me to be lazier with my injects. As you can see, this bitch is probably sitting here with 200 out of 200, more than likely. Wait, yep. So, something I definitely got to get better at. But for that, the most important thing for me at these bases was to get my gas up and running. And I believe I'm sending, yep, I have gas being built here, and I believe I'm sending down more workers. So what I'm trying to do right now is get my economy up and running. And even at that point, I'm still only at 57 harvesters. So he's now going to try a push with zealots because he has 4,000 minerals. No, that's me. I have 4,000 minerals. I suck ass. My opponent, on the other hand, is doing a little bit of a better job spending their money. If we take a look at the units lost tab, he has lost a significant more than me right now, but it's not that bad. And he does have some phoenixes out, and right now, what this is basically going to break down to is he's going to attempt to stop me from getting an expansion. And at this point, he has a well-established third base, it's well-defended, and he's now getting this base up and running. Aha! Sent out a little Zergling, and he's just going to try to, like, just chop the hell out of this place. Yeah, fucking go, buddy. And right here, it's almost like all complete chaos, because when I'm watching this, I'm just going to kind of go over to me right here. See your player camera, you can see that I'm just checking out my army right here. That base had to go down. I relocated all of the workers, and at this point, I need to get my mutas, I need to get my queens up there to try to stop these void rays, but Mutalisks and void rays do not always do the best against each other. So with queens supporting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus fire down these void rays one at a time. So that's really the best way to deal with them, is just to kill them, and not that the Mutalisks auto-attack, because otherwise the void rays get charged up, and that's when they do a lot of damage. So I check it out, that base is gone, but at least I still have my other third base. So I'm going to try to rebuild that, and, you know, attempt to do some injects, while sucking ass at it because I'm not hotkeying anything. And now I'm going to go for Greater Spire. We're going to take that off that. That's very nauseating. But you can see here, these Void Rays in a few units, this was probably not the best expansion choice. We are in such close proximity, and it is so easy for him to come in here. If I want the space, I need to drop like 5 Spine Crawlers there, or position my army somewhere other than here, possibly at the relay right here. Otherwise, I have absolutely no hope of holding the space. He's just going to burn it down every single time I put it up. These rocks need to be busted down. I should be taking ninja expansions down here. And when I realized that my Zergling got killed by a few workers down here, what I did was I took my Zerglings and sent them down there, because I had a very good hunch that a bulk of his army was not at this base, and that even if he had 1 or 2 photon cannons, that these Zerglings would be enough to clean it up. And at this point, it was a very low-risk way for me to kind of casually take this base out and then not have to worry about it that much. So to this point, I haven't even touched this third base. I don't even know if I realistically know about it. No, I have no clue whatsoever that he has that third base. I assume that he does, and I'm glad that he hasn't made a move on this one. As you can see here, I just canceled that because there's a Dark Templar there, and he's going to move in with these units here, and this is not a good position. These mutas, I'm not even looking at them right now, and they're all just absolutely going to get slaughtered. I mean, I'm going to take out a few of his stalkers, but it just really was not a good exchange. When you're engaging Mutalisks and you have and the enemy has stalkers, you really just need a few Zerglings. They soak up the damage, they add a lot of extra DPS, and that is a cool waterfall. That is so neat. And right here, again, he's just using map control with these air units and picking off my poor-ass overlords. I mean, these guys just really don't even know what's happening to them. So, for right now, I'm bringing back my Zerglings. You can see he's sending down these workers, and I was able to casually get my Zerglings by. I wish I would have engaged them, because those Zerglings would have torn those Stalkers apart. But right now, I have Broodlords. From what I told you, I was going Greater Spire earlier, and Broodlords are pretty much what I'm going to need to win this game. So, to his part, I think the strategy that he has employed in this game, you know, was flawed, because he does not have tier 3 tech right now, which he very well could have. He's mined out here with a lot of sitting workers, and for me, I've at least attempted to migrate mine, but I haven't taken any of these other expansions, which I should have. Hey, buddies. And to that end, right now, he's just going to come in, and he basically realizes that I'm not even paying attention to this base. And at this point in the game, going through my mind was, I'm pretty sure I have military superiority, that I've defeated his army, and I should probably just do a run on his base. You know, I run into these few units here, and my mutas are going to make easy work of these few phoenixes. They really just didn't stand a chance. And, you know, at this point, his defenses are down. He just does not have enough army capability, or doesn't have the ability to build his troops quick enough to deal with the amount of Zerg that I'm putting out on the field. And he easily managed to take out that base, and I have a lot of unspent larvae here because I never hotkeyed this base. So I was injecting the entire time and just never building anything off of it, which was completely wasteful. And right now he's just absolutely slaughtering these workers. It's so fucking disgusting. And he's going to move in, so right here you have 1 or 2 choices. You can do a base race where you can see who can blow up everybody's structures first, and then whoever has the biggest army wins. Now what I'm doing here is, you can see I'm rallying all of these troops that I'm building to this part of my base. So my logic is, this army is small enough, and I'm building spine crawlers to kind of help slow down his attack, that I can build enough units here to deal with these troops, which really shouldn't be a problem. And then I can just continue to rush his base here. My Broodlords are just helping me make easy work of the defenses. And at this point, I'm going to build the Swarm in. And it's kind of like all the cool videos that you see in StarCraft, where at the end, the Zerg just looks so cool when they come and take out your base. Because it's like everybody fights desperately for life, and they just fail. And that's about it. And I think the thing with this game is, it's kind of interesting to look at 2, I would say definitely more inexperienced, or, you know, just somebody who has not played the game in a long time. I would consider myself an experienced StarCraft player, but after watching this game, if you guys do, you're probably not going to think very highly of me. But this is probably only my 10th game back at Ladder after taking an entire break for a year. So, for me, getting placed in Gold League and even being able to win games feels pretty good, considering that when I started, you know, in Bronze League, just like a lot of other people did. But I hope you guys enjoyed this cast in this game of StarCraft 2. And that bugs me so much when people GG and then they don't leave. What's up with these, like, tentacles that are in every Zerg unit when they die? It's just really, really gross. I don't want to know how many Overlords I lost. I mean, why was I putting Overlords out there? It's just silly. And Void Rays, yeah, just... I think at the end of the day, for my opponent, he did not have a coherent strategy. And for myself, I knew what I wanted to do, but I just kind of suck at it. So that's why I didn't do it very well. So guys, thank you very much for watching this game of Malikicowtipper StarCraft 2. You have yourself a fantastic evening, night, day, morning, or whatever it happens to be while you're watching. Peace out.